Hello, and welcome to today's yoga session. My name is Cassandra Struble, and for today's foundational life flow yoga, we are only going to need our mat to begin. As we come onto our backs, let's go ahead and start out in our constructive rest pose. So we're just going to place our feet flat on our mat. We're going to bend our knees, and we're just going to allow for our lower back and our middle back to begin to settle onto our mats. And then let's go ahead and begin to just drop our hands down towards the side. You can go ahead and allow for our hands to be palms up or palms down, whatever is more comfortable. And then as we settle into our constructive rest pose, let's just start to move around in our shoulders a little bit. And as we're moving around in our shoulders, we're not trying to kind of like pull or push or strain anything. We're just moving. So maybe we're just kind of shifting them from side to side. Maybe taking them up towards our ears and down again. But again, not really trying to tense. Trying to kind of begin to loosen. As we're lying here, connecting down towards the earth, allowing ourselves to let go of any type of thought we're bringing to our mat, letting go of our day, letting go of our expectations. We're really just going to come into just noticing. So maybe we're doing a little figure eight here with our shoulders. And we're not trying to be fast as we're moving, kind of coming with that breath. Now bringing our awareness to our hips. We're going to go ahead and come in for a gentle pelvic tilt. So nice and slow, we're going to begin to shift our hips, just tilting them up towards the sky. And then as we exhale, we want to press all of our lower back on our mats. Now we do have the opportunity, if we want to, when we come back down, we can give a little arch if that is comfortable. However, again, we don't want to be straining, we just kind of want to be stretching. So as we inhale, just gently bringing our hips one way, exhaling the other. Nice and slow. We can also close our eyes, begin to just kind of notice what parts of our back are gently touching the mat as we are pressing our hips. Nice, slow. Let's begin to slowly bring our right knee in towards our bellies. We're going to bring our hands back behind our knee. We're going to extend that left leg nice and long. Now with our hands kind of resting behind our knee, let's take a nice big inhale. And as we exhale, resting that thigh onto our belly. And once we begin to do that, let's begin to move around nice and slow in our ankles and toes. Now as we're moving around, kind of coming focused on our mat, let's think about slowly bringing our knee up towards the crown of our head. Now we're not trying to bring it in towards our belly or our heart. We're just trying to lengthen the back of that leg, resting a little bit more of it on our belly. All we want to feel is that sensation of our thigh just resting, and our hip can come a little bit lighter as it comes into our chest, as opposed to bringing it in again towards our heart. So maybe we're flexing our toes, maybe we're kind of wiggling them around. And slowly with that next inhale, let's go ahead and take that foot straight up towards the sky. Let's just begin to start with pointing our toe up towards the ceiling. And as we're pointing that toe up towards the sky, on each inhale, we just want to see if we can take that foot a little bit further. And And as we exhale, we can kind of relax our leg. Again, thinking about that breath, thinking about how with our breath we can slowly begin to move it up through our leg out to our toe. Just get that length in the back of our knee. Now let's slowly begin to just point. Flex with our foot. Nice and slow. Taking our time as we move so that when we bring that toe up, we're stretching and lengthening. And as we bring our heel up, we're really stretching and lengthening. Taking our time. Now let's go ahead and slowly bring that knee back into our chest. We're going to hook our right hand underneath that right leg. We're just going to allow that hip to kind of fall towards our side. And as it falls to our side, let's just kind of relax it into our arm here. Again, we can kind of wiggle our toes, but we're just trying to allow for our lower back to relax onto the mat. Allowing for that hip to open up a little bit. Now let's go ahead and extend that right leg nice and long. Slowly bring our left leg into our chest. Now as we bring our left thigh in, let's go ahead and take a nice big inhale. And as we exhale, just allowing for that thigh to fall onto our bellies. Now we want to think about taking that knee and lengthening it up towards the crown of our head. And again, we can drop that hip out a little bit to the side as opposed to trying to bring it in towards our heart. We might notice with each exhale that allows that thigh to come a little bit closer to our bellies. And just moving around in our toes and ankles. Maybe we're wiggling our toes. Maybe we're spelling our name. Maybe we're thinking about a word that explains our day. Now let's take a nice big inhale, lengthening that foot up towards the sky. Now let's go ahead and point with that toe, nice, full length. Working with that breath. Inhale, stretching that toe up. Exhale, allowing for that leg to relax a little bit. Now let's slowly begin to move and point flex with our heel and our toe. As we inhale, that heel is really coming up. Exhale, pointing with that toe. Working on just opening the back of our knees, so moving nice and slow. Now allowing that leg to slowly fall to the side, hooking that left hand up behind underneath our leg. Just allowing that hip to fall open here. We can move around our toe and ankle a little bit more here. Who would like? Allowing for our hip to relax. Now slowly coming back to our constructive rest pose. Let's go ahead and bring our hands onto our heart. Just settling in with our breath here. We're going to do our 3-part breath just so we can feel our breath move down our body. So as we come into our constructive rest pose, our feet are resting on our mat, knees are bent. And again, we're placing our hands either on top of our chest, maybe stacking one over the other, or we're resting our elbows on our floor and our hands are resting on our ribs up underneath our chest. So either which way, we want to go ahead and close our eyes. We're just going to begin to connect with that breath. So as we inhale, our hands are going to begin to rise up towards the sky. Maybe we're going to feel our ribs beginning to open and expand. And with our breath, we're not really trying to push our breath. We're just trying to kind of notice. Maybe noticing as we exhale how our body shifts down towards our mat. Each inhale, we can feel the front just expanding and opening up with that breath. We can be breathing however we would like here. There's no right or wrong way. We can inhale through our nose and exhale out our nose. Inhale through our mouth, exhale through our nose. However we're choosing to breathe, let's just keep it steady with that pattern. Now let's go ahead and take our hands down to our middle belly. For this, we can either place our hands again, resting them on the mat. Hands are going to come right below our rib cage, or we can go ahead and make a triangle pattern, which we're just going to touch our thumbs together, touch our pointer fingers together, make a little diamond, and then we're going to allow for our thumbs to rest at the bottom of that rib cage. Fingers are pointing down, and then exhaling, relaxing our elbows down to our side. Now, as we begin to breathe through our ribs, we're then going to bring that diaphragm online, so we can still feel our ribs expanding. But again, as we close our eyes, we can also feel that little extra shelf underneath beginning to expand and open up. And we can always close our eyes here. If our breath is big enough, we maybe might feel like it's a little bit of a back massage as we are breathing. This expansive breath. Bringing our thoughts and our awareness on that pattern. And then on that next exhale, we can keep that diamond pattern with our hands. And we're just going to allow for our thumbs to rest on, above, or below our belly button. Or we can rest our hands on the ground and place our hands right on our hip bones. So whatever is most comfortable, and it can change with each opportunity we're on our mat. We're just going to begin to inhale into that lower belly. So now our ribs are still expanding, opening up. Our diaphragm, that shelf is coming in. Now we can feel our lower belly extending. And then as we exhale, we can slowly watch it come back up, out. Again, maybe closing our eyes here. So we can see that breath moving through our body. It's becoming an expansive. Not really trying to force anything here. Let's go ahead and we're going to slowly begin to bring our knees into our chest, nice and slow, one leg and then the other. And as we bring our knees into our chest, it's totally up to you how you would like to have your feet. Your feet can crisscross if they want, they can hang out to the side. Our legs can even hang out a little bit wider, relaxing our hips. It's however we are comfortable. Once those knees come into our chest, either resting on our chest, we're just going to begin to shift side to side, nice and slow. All of our back is resting on our mats. Nothing is coming up. We're not trying to get crazy with that rocking. We're just kind of shifting our knees here, left and right. Feeling that connection of our back down with the earth. Nice and slow. Now all we want to do here is match our breath. So instead of letting our thoughts drift, let's really think about inhaling one way, exhaling the other. Slowly we can begin to take our knees in a circle here. And our circles can be as big or as small as we would like them to be. They can be as fast or slow, but if we slow them down, we can close our eyes, we can really start to bring our breath all the way down to those hips. So we're inhaling one direction, exhaling the other. Now slowly switching directions with our knees. Again, our circles don't have to be big, they can be small. If we want them to be big, that's totally up to us. Just kind of noticing as we have our back on our mat, any place of tension and thinking about bringing our breath into that spot. Let's go ahead and bring our knees back to center. We're going to slowly exhale, and we're going to drop our knees down to either side. And as we drop our knees down to either side, we're just going to bring our hands up to shoulder height. And we're going to start off by looking at our hands the same with our knees dropped on. So if we've dropped our knees to the left, let's go ahead and just look left. And as we're looking left, let's go ahead and just shift our eyes over our shoulder ever so gently. Now let's come back to that breath. So thinking about breathing into our hips so we can feel it in this hip. And then as we inhale and exhale, we want to feel it on that outer part of our body here. Nice full breaths. Allow your hips to just sink. And gently looking over that shoulder here. And let's go ahead and blink our eyes, and we're just going to turn our head. So our legs are going to stay where they're at, so are our hands, and we're just going to slowly begin to look over the other side. Now this is going to deepen that stretch a little bit more into our back. If it is uncomfortable, we can just take our knees further away from our belly and just kind of drop them down a little lower. So kind of feeling what is comfortable here as we're breathing, taking our time because we're coming through our back here. And let's just slowly shift our eyes over that shoulder. Let's slowly blink our eyes, and we're going to walk our feet back to our constructive rest pose, and then let's drop them down to the other side. As we drop our knees to the other side, let's go ahead and start by looking at our hand that fell over the same direction. So if we dropped our knees to the right, we are now looking to our right. And we're just going to begin to practice with that breath all the way down to our lower belly. So nice big inhale. Exhaling through that hip. Now we're working through that muscle that crisscross across our body. A nice slow and steady breath. Slowly switch directions with our gaze. Nice full inhales and exhales. Now let's slowly blink our eyes. We're going to come back to center, back to that constructive rest pose. Once we come into our constructive rest pose, let's go ahead and lengthen our legs all the way out nice and long. We're going to inhale those hands up over our head, nice and big. And then as we bring our hands over our head, now just so we know our hands don't have to be straight up over our head, they can just be comfortably over our head, even if it's a V pattern, it doesn't really matter. All we're trying to really do here is lengthen our spine through our belly. So even though our hands are reaching overhead, really thinking about that spine stretching out. And now let's try to make ourselves as long as we can between our toes and our hands, reaching in opposite directions. Maybe we might yawn here. And then once we do that, let's slowly begin to drop our knees to the side, and we're just going to bring the bottoms of our feet together. Now here in our Reclined Butterfly, it is not about how far we can bring our heels up towards our crotch. It is mostly about relaxing our hips. So if we feel we're trying to pull them in and our hips are straining to relax, let's just go ahead and relax our feet away a little bit. And again, we're just reaching overhead with our hands, thinking about extending and expanding from our hips all the way up to our belly button, those vertebrae. So thinking if we can kind of shimmy a little bit of length in there. And we can lift and lower our head as we need to, making sure that we have space to breathe. And let's slowly begin to walk our feet back up to our constructive rest pose. And then we're going to slowly walk our knees a little bit wider than our mat. And as we walk them wider than our mat, let's go ahead and take that opportunity to see if we can get any more space between any vertebrae. So maybe just shimmy around in that back. With our legs, let's start by taking our knees slowly together and apart. Now this is not a big movement, so we really need to slow it down. Kind of working on that inner and outer hip stretch. We're not trying to go crazy, we're just trying to allow for those bands to relax. And again, we can actively be reaching with our spine. Now taking our time, let's shift and allow one knee to fall to the middle of the other one to fall away. Kind of slowly shifting with our breath. So inhaling one direction and then exhaling the other. Taking our time through those hips, just allowing them for stretching and to breathe. Now each time we come up through the middle, let's see if we can get a little length in that spine. We might notice that there's a little bit of lift in between each vertebrae. Can we get a little bit more room there? Again, just slowly moving through the center. Pressing all of our back on our mats. And let's slowly, as we come back to the center the next time, let's walk our feet to the edges of our mat. And from here, we're going to continue to rock a little bit left and right. Ever so gently. Ever so slowly. So whatever speed we were working on with our knees wide, let's cut that speed in half. Noticing that each time we come through the middle with our knees, we can really get some length with that spine. We can also kind of shimmy around in our shoulders, maybe lifting one knee, maybe lifting one arm higher as we drop our knees to one side. Usually I like to do the opposite hand, so if we're dropping left, that right hand might be reaching up, kind of lengthening through that middle body. And just thinking about how much space we can create that spine. And then slowing it down even more. Again, really taking advantage each time we come up through the middle to try to lengthen. Now slowly, let's go ahead and begin to come over onto our side. And for our baby posture. So as we roll over onto one side, there is no wrong way to do it. We can be resting on our arm, we can extend our arm out. However we are comfortable on that side. Let's take a couple breaths here all the way down. Let's think about that breath coming into our lower bellies. Nice big expansion. As we exhale, kind of feeling everything sinking towards the earth. Now, as we are ready, let's slowly make our way to all fours. And as we make our way to all fours, we just want to think about our posture here, making sure that our hips are over our knees. And to start out, that our shoulders, elbows, and wrists are in line. And let's make our fingers nice and wide. Big starfish fingers. And we're going to come down into all fours for our cat-cow. Now with our cow, we're going to inhale. We're going to drop our belly down towards the earth, maybe just crunching up that back. As we exhale, we just want to take our time. Nice, big stretch through our spine, rounding out our back. Now in our cat-cow, we come back for our cat here. We can go ahead and bring our bottom back towards the wall behind us, and that will kind of take that pressure off our wrists and our elbows. Nice, full stretch, taking our time. We're just using that breath again. Inhaling, dropping our belly down. Exhaling, round that back out to our cat. Let's go ahead and close our eyes through our cat-cow. Just allow our head to kind of move with our body. Let's try to hold it into our cat-cow. Now let's go ahead and let's come down to our puppy dog first. So we're going to just lower down onto our forearms. And then we're going to interlace those fingers. And then let's take a moment here and let's just begin to press our forearms into our mat. And then let's press those forearms to push our spine back nice and slow. So just using those forearms to kind of press our bottom back towards the wall behind us. And then we can choose to leave our head in line with our spine, or we can choose to drop our head down. However, it is what is more comfortable. All we want to think about here is that our spine is in a nice big line. Our bottom is coming back, slowly pulling towards the wall behind us. And then slowly, let's make our way back onto all fours. As we come back into all fours, we're going to add a little bit of a barrel roll to our cat-cow. So as we inhale, we're going to drop that belly down. We're going to exhale and shift our hips to one side as we come through that cat. And then shifting our hips to the other side. So let me say that again. Inhaling, dropping that belly down. Maybe holding our breath as we shift our hips. And then beginning to exhale, rounding that back out through our cat. Shifting our hips to the other side. And then starting that inhale down into our cow. So one of the things I like to think about is as if we are going around the barrel. Taking our time. We are in no rush. We can even close our eyes. We can feel a little bit more into it. Maybe noticing anything, any tension, and allowing for our breath to begin to move there. Now switching directions. So again, all we're doing is in between each breath, we're just going to shift our hips to one side. Exhaling into that cat. Nice big inhale into that belly. Good. Nice big barrel roll here. Taking our time, again, closing our eyes. Now let's go ahead and slowly lower back down onto our forearms. And then from here, let's go ahead and take our knees out to the edges of our mat. And we're just going to drop our bottom back towards our heels. Let's be comfortable with our knees, though. We're not trying to be crazy. So as long as we're not putting too much pressure on our knee, when we think about our child's pose, we're just going to bring our head up to a surface. Now the best one that I like to start with is always stacking our fists. So making two fists. One fist is going to touch the mat. The other fist is going to stack on top. Then let's just drop our forehead onto those fists. Now from here we can get a little bit more of a relaxation. Now we can come out, play around, see where we're comfortable. That's going to be our natural child's pose, right when we find that nice comfortable place. We're going to rest our forehead on both of our stacked fists. Now here let's begin to take those nice big inhales and exhales. We're going to notice the breath coming into our lower belly. Maybe feeling and expanding on our thighs. And as we exhale, just beginning to deflate. I always like to think of it as a little beach ball. Using that breath. Notice the rise and fall on our thighs. And on the next couple times we exhale, let's take a nice little sigh. Now let's go ahead nice and slow. We're going to inhale. So we're going to slowly bring our knees underneath us. Now again, our bottom is just coming back to those heels. We're not trying to squish that bottom back towards our heels, just comfortably. And we're going to go ahead and extend our hands out here nice and wide. And we're just going to take a nice little moment here to look up, lengthening that back. Weight is going to shift in those heels, or shift into our bottom, sorry. Shifting to our bottom. Now on that first inhale, let's go ahead and take a step up with our right foot. And then on our next inhale, turning that toe under, and then nice big inhale, let's come up to bring that left foot to meet our right foot any way you would like. Then we're going to come into our forward fold. Now here for our forward fold, let's allow our hands to rest wherever they fall. We don't want to leave them hanging out here. So let's go ahead, take a nice big inhale, and just rest our belly onto our thighs. And let's relax our head down towards the earth. Let's shake our head no. Shake our head yes. Now all our hands are resting. Let's just take a nice big inhale again. And as we exhale, just allowing our head to settle. Our hands are just resting. Now let's place our hands on either our upper thigh or on our shins. And we're going to press on those shins and just look up. This is our monkey. So here in our monkey, we're just lengthening through the back of our legs. Now exhaling back into our forward fold. Now let's slowly begin to inhale. We're going to walk those hands up our legs nice and slow here. Coming up into our standing posture. Now once we get to the top, let's go ahead and check with our feet. So looking at our feet, let's just make sure they are straight to us. So I always like to say, just so they look straight, even if you look up and they don't look completely straight, it's fine. And then looking at that, let's take that big toe in, one width of the big toe. So we should feel kind of all four corners of our feet touching our mat. And then we're just going to take a nice big exhale and allow our hands to fall down to our sides. Allow our shoulders to fall away from our ears. Now closing our eyes here for a second. As we inhale, we can feel it come through our ribs, adding that diaphragm, and again down towards our hips. Hands are just out to our sides. As we inhale, maybe our shoulders are shifting up towards our ears. And as we exhale, they're lowering down. Just working on relaxing our shoulders here. Now let's slowly take our right ear towards our right shoulder. Nice and slow. And once we get there, let's take a nice big exhale, dropping our shoulders down away from our ears. And while we're here, let's think about just squeezing those shoulder blades just a little bit so we can open up that chest. Now keeping our shoulder blades nice and tight. Shoulders stacked over our hips. We're going to shift our head to the other side. And then as we exhale, dropping those shoulder blades away from our ears. And that's nice and slow. Let's just go in a little half circle here. So rolling our head down to the front, to the other side. Taking our time as we come through the middle. Big, slow movements. Now let's go ahead and next time we come back to the center, let's go ahead and bring that chin down towards the earth. And then as we can, take a nice big exhale, allowing our chin to just come into our chest. And we want to feel the stretching in our upper shoulders, maybe that upper part of our neck. And there's a little bit of room between our chin and our throat. We're not completely cut off, but we're giving ourselves room to just kind of stretch that chin down. And then inhaling, coming back to center. Let's go ahead and slowly begin to roll our shoulders here. Nice and big. As we're rolling our shoulders, our circles can be as big or as small as we would like them to be. And let's slowly begin to take them in the other direction. Again, taking our time here. Now bringing our shoulders back to center. Let's go ahead and take our shoulders up, back to the wall behind us. We're lowering them down towards our shoulders. Just making an up, back, down movement through those shoulder blades. Nice and slow. And again, we can close our eyes here so we can really feel them moving around, up, back, down, let's go ahead and roll them in the opposite direction. Nice and slow. And again, our shoulders can be as big or as small as we would like them to be, as long as we're moving around in them. Now coming back to the center, let's go ahead and just wiggle out there in our shoulders. Now let's go ahead and slowly take our right hand and we're going to bring it across our chest. Our left hand is going to hook up underneath that arm. And all we're doing is stretching out our shoulder here. So as we hook with our hands, let's go ahead and wiggle around in our fingers. Nice and slow. Exhale, release, taking that left hand across our body. Right hand's gonna come up, hook underneath. Let's just move around our fingers there. Nice and slow. Let's go ahead and exhale, coming back into that mountain. So just to get a little bit of slow movement here, we're gonna go ahead and step our feet a little bit wider than our mat, and we're gonna do a modified sunflower. So our hands are just gonna reach up, and then as we exhale, we're just gonna slowly begin to squat that bottom back. So not a big movement here, just to bring a little bit of movement through our back. However, we're not trying to really fling ourselves. So as we exhale, we're settling down, and as we inhale, it's rising us up nice and even, making sure that our knees are not going over our toes. And just a little bit of movement here. Into that sunflower. Thinking about if we are picking up the flowers down below and we're throwing them in the air. Let's go ahead and next time we come up, let's go ahead and bring our hands all the way out to the side, 5-pointed star. Let's make ourselves as big as we can. Expanding all the way out. And then exhale, relaxing. Let's go ahead and come up to the top of our mat. And as we come up to the top of our mat, I'm gonna face you guys still just in case. So as we come up to the top of our mat, we're gonna do a little bit of a crescent moon here. So for crescent moon, we're gonna use our Charlie's Angels fingers. First 3 fingers are gonna be interlaced, pointer finger up, thumb is back. Let's take a nice big inhale and point that pointer finger up towards the sky above us. Thumb is gonna go back here. Now as we begin to move, we're just gonna think about moving that rib cage around our spine here. So just shifting our rib cage left and right around that spine. Now our spine is staying neutral here. Really just those rib cage shifting to the left and to the right. And those fingers are helping to guide as we are moving. Again, inhaling one way and exhaling the other. Nothing crazy. Nothing about trying to push a button with those fingers, maybe squeezing a little bit in our arms to lengthen that back. And then exhale, release. So again, at the top of our mat, let's take a nice big inhale. Hands are gonna go overhead. And as we exhale, we're gonna bring our hands out to our side, hinging at our hips, coming into our forward fold, allowing your hands to fall and touch wherever they lay. Nice big inhale. Let's take an exhale, relaxing your belly onto our thighs to our forward fold. Now let's go ahead and inhale. And we're going to take our hands and just place them on our calves. Now as we exhale, let's take our crown of our head, facing it down towards the earth, and we're going to press on those calves just a little bit, and that's going to start to lengthen the upper part of our legs. So nice and slowly, just pressing on those. It might begin to pick those hips up. Nice big stretch. And then inhale, looking up, releasing from behind our calves. Let's place our hands on our thighs. Inhale, looking up, keeping our hands on our thighs. We're going to hinge at our hips for a half forward fold. So hands are still on our thighs. We're just hinging over. Belly is resting on our thighs. Inhale, looking up. Let's go ahead and slide those hands back down towards the earth. And then we can reach out in front of us or down next to our feet. We're going to slowly come down onto our knees. Nice and slow, walking one foot back. And then the other. Let's just come into that cat-cow here. One more time, nice and slow. Taking our time as we move here. Maybe if we find a cat or a cow to be enjoyable, just kind of allow ourselves to stay in one longer than the other. And then we can close our eyes and just let that head flow with the movement. And then let's slowly lower down onto our forearms one more time. We're going to interlace those fingers. And then again, we're going to take all of our forearms and start to push us back towards that wall behind us. So pushing, pushing, pushing. That's going to take our bottoms towards the wall, lengthening through that spine here in our puppy dog. So we can feel all of our weight in our hips. Our head is either with that spine, or we can go ahead and drop it down, letting it hang. So whatever is more comfortable with our back. Let's go ahead and slowly lower down onto our bellies, and we're going to come into our baby pose on the other side. So if we were laying down right, this time we're just going to come into that baby pose on the other side. Maybe look left. And again, that side pose here for our baby is however we are comfortable. And then slowly on that next inhale, let's go ahead and come over onto our backs. Nice and slow. As we come into our backs, let's go ahead and bring those knees into our chest one more time. Taking our time here, just kind of inhaling one direction, exhaling the other. Back is fully connected with the earth. And just taking our time. Now we're going to come in for a happy baby or a dead bug. We're going to do a little bit different here. So we're going to release from behind our leg. We're going to reach in between our thighs, and we're just going to reach for our calf muscles here. We're going to allow those knees to fall to the side. So all we're going to do once we get there, we can even hold onto our pants, however, just somewhere along our calves or ankles, and we're just going to kind of rock side to side a little bit. So we can actually kind of have fun with this, where we can kind of take our feet and kind of rock ourselves with them. We want our knees to just fall out to the side, hips are wide. And if we can, let's point those toes back towards our knees as we're rocking here. Nice and slow. And just hanging out here in our happy baby. And let's take a nice big exhale, slowly bringing our feet down towards the earth. And we're going to come back into that reclined butterfly. So let's go ahead and inhale our hands up over our head one more time. Reaching those hands. And let's slowly begin to drop our knees down nice and wide. Bottoms of our feet are going to begin to press together. All of our back is on the mat here. Now let's really think about pressing all of that back onto our mat. And then we're going to just do a modified little release here. So as we do this, we're going to slowly bring our legs together nice and slow. If at any point we are uncomfortable, we can just flutter our legs and it'll stop. We're just going to slowly start to relax that psoas muscle. However, there can be some shaking going on. So as we inhale, let's just slowly bring our knees together, maybe about 2 inches. So we're going to press our feet together. We're just going to begin to lift those knees up off the ground nice and slow. Our hands are still overhead. We can adjust that neck. Now as we're pressing our feet here, we're just going to think about relaxing those hips. Here's where we might feel just a little bit of shaking, making sure that we're just gently pressing our back onto our mats. Nothing crazy. Continuing to breathe. Now let's bring our knees together, maybe about another inch. So just lifting them above the mat just a little bit more. Bottoms of our feet are pressing a little bit. We're going to feel a little bit of shake. That's because that muscle wants to decide whether it is going to run or freeze. However, here it's causing it to force to relax. And let's bring those knees together a little bit more. Bottoms of our feet might be separating off our mat. That's completely fine. Just a couple more breaths here. Big inhale, let's come back into that constructive rest pose. Now let's take our hands out next to our sides. We're going to bend those elbows to a 90-degree angle into our cactus arms. Now as we come into our cactus arms, let's kind of begin to think about pressing all of the back of our hands onto the mat, and the back of our arms up to the back of our shoulders. Now pressing all of our upper shoulders on our mats here. Let's just shift those shoulders left and right in our cactus as if we are a cactus playing in the wind. Making sure again all of those arms and shoulders are really pressed down into the earth. Let's take and turn our head and look to one hand here as we're just slowly shifting with our shoulders. Switching and looking the other direction here. Still maybe moving around in our shoulders any way that's comfortable. And slowly coming back to center, let's begin to bring ourselves into a comfortable rested position. So we can either stay in our constructive rest pose, we can come into an easy seated pose, or we can lay completely flat out. So whatever is most comfortable. We can also get a pillow to rest our head on here. And as we come into a resting position, let's go ahead and slowly begin to get any last fidgeting out. So maybe we're moving around and our back getting really comfortable. Now let's take a nice big inhale, squeezing everything in our body, all that tension. And then on that exhale, trying to release it all towards the ground. Now one more big time, inhaling, thinking about clenching everything in our body. And then exhaling, release. Let's shake our fingers out. And then relax our hands back down towards our mat. Now here as we come in for our final rest, let's take a moment to come in with our breath. And starting to listen to our breath. As we're listening to our breath, beginning to try to lengthen our inhales and our exhales in the same length. Our eyes are gently closed. Now keeping our thoughts in the room, let's begin to listen to the sounds around us, just becoming familiar with our breath against the sound around us. Maybe taking a moment here as we're breathing to switch up our breathing. If we've been breathing through our nose the whole time, maybe try to breathe through our nose and then slowly out of our mouth. If we've been breathing through our nose, maybe switching it up, taking a nice slow exhale out of our mouth. Let's bring awareness to our back, relaxing it onto the mat. Relaxing the back of our arms. Relaxing our thumb, our pointer finger, our middle finger, our ring finger, our pinky finger, relaxing the palm of our hand, our forearm, relaxing both of our arms, relaxing our shoulders and our chest, relaxing our heart, relaxing our belly into our hips, relaxing our thighs, relaxing our knees, relaxing our calves and our ankles, relaxing our heels and our feet, relaxing our big toe, our second toes, third toe, fourth toe, our fifth toe. Relaxing our entire foot. Relaxing the lower half of our legs. Relaxing our knees. Relaxing our thighs. Relaxing our left leg. And our right leg. And slowly exhaling, relaxing our whole body down towards the floor. Gently relaxing all of our body down. Each exhale, just feeling that connection, listening to our breath. And exhaling, see if we can relax a little bit more. Starting to relax our shoulders, our throat, relaxing our ears, relaxing our jaw, maybe dropping our tongue away from the roof of our mouth, relaxing the space around our eyes, relaxing our eyes, relaxing our eyebrows, relaxing all of our forehead, and slowly just allowing our face to relax with the rest of our body, and letting go of any thoughts, just listening. Slowly wrap up. Let's go ahead and bring our hands into our heart wherever we are at. And resting our hands into our heart center. Let's go ahead and finish up with 3 nice big breaths together. And our third exhale, reminding us as we come through our evening to relax, be still, and slowly settle in. As always, I thank you all for coming.